Hey, what's up guys, Jay Smooth here, and today I want to give you guys my initial impressions of Dark Souls 3. I'm just getting into the game now, but I feel like I have a pretty good sense of how the game is. First off, the performance is amazing. I heard there are a little choppy, situations and settings on the PC at the moment, but I'm playing maxed out at a constant 60 FPS. Now granted, I have an i7 CPU, I have a GTX 780 overclock, 12 gigs of RAM. I have a pretty decent system, but still, I've seen people on YouTube with a 750 Ti that are running the game, over 30 frames a second, maxed out. So it's definitely not as demanding as other new games are. I'm also using a DualShock 4 on the PC because a lot of times when I play third-person games on PC, I just prefer a controller. I don't know what it is. I just think it gives me a little better control, which might sound funny to some of you PC guys out there, but that's just a personal thing. Visually speaking, the setting, the background, the enemies, they're all very, very classic Dark Souls. They're gross, they're ugly, and they're awesome. Souls games always have this unique dark, like medieval, horror, gothic, whatever you want to call it, look to them. I think it's really cool. It's a beautiful game as well. You can definitely tell the developers from FromSoftware took a lot of time in building this world. The graphics to me are really, really awesome. Like I said, you get great performance with a decent system, and yeah, I think it works really, really well. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, I think it feels really good. Everything is very responsive to me. It seems like the combat in this game is slightly more fast-paced than Dark Souls 1 and 2. It really does seem like they took a page out of Bloodborne. It's not quite as frantically fast-paced, shifty, dodgy as that game was. But it definitely seems like it encourages more of that dodging than it does of the blocking here in this game. I mean, there's still your classic Dark Souls blocking with the shield and everything, but there's definitely, I mean, it's hard to explain until you actually get into it, but you can see what I mean, that the dodging and everything is definitely more fast-paced than it is in previous Souls games, just like Bloodborne. Now, I fought 3 bosses so far, and each one of them I was definitely rolling around and dodging a lot. And a lot of you are going to say, well, hey, in other Dark Souls games, you have to do the same thing. You can't block, bosses, every one of their hits and everything. And, I get what you're saying there, but until you get your hands on this, you won't really understand. Again, it's not that exaggerated. It's still Dark Souls. You still have a shield. You can still block everything, or most things anyway. But yeah, you can definitely tell that they're taking things from Bloodborne, which I love because I thought Bloodborne was an amazing game. Now for the difficulty, it seems in line so far with the other games. However, I think that after playing all the Souls games, Dark Souls 3 and even Bloodborne for that matter earlier last year, they're not that hard for me. I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess it has more to do with getting used to the style of these games than anything else. But I mean, I will tell you, if you are a big fan of these games like I am, and you've beaten them multiple times or beaten a couple of them, you'll definitely be very, very comfortable with Dark Souls 3. I mean, it is a hard game, but if you're used to Dark Souls, then you know what to expect. It's not going to be anything crazy. Then again, like I said, I'm only a couple hours into the game right now, so I haven't really seen everything there is, but just from what I've seen so far and what I've heard from other people, I mean, it's just, it's another Dark Souls game. It's very hard. There's going to be sections in the game that are ridiculous, but that's what you've come to expect from this series, and that's what a lot of people love, including me, is a game that's super hard but fair at the same time. If you played any of the other games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's one of the best things about Dark Souls and why there's so many fans and why it keeps getting more and more popular is because it's hard to explain. It's kind of like, a lot of people say it's kind of like the old days, and it is in a way, like the old days of video games where it's a hard game but it doesn't feel cheap, Dark Souls games don't feel cheap. I mean, there are parts where a guy's going to jump out at you and knock you off a cliff, or, hit you when you have barely any health left, and it's going to piss you off and annoy you and everything. But for the most part, I would say that Dark Souls games aren't cheap. But yeah, guys, I really love it so far. Overall, I'm having a great time with it. The graphics, the gameplay, and the difficulty have already made it a great entry to the series so far. I will have a lot more gameplay and discussions with you guys before finally having a review when I actually beat it, and who the heck knows how long that's going to take. I do work full-time, so it's not like I have a million hours a week to play this game, but I'm sure the next couple weeks I'll find some time to beat it, hopefully. But anyway, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below, Let me know what you think. Have you picked up Dark Souls? Are you a fan of this series? Did you play Bloodborne? Just whatever. Let's just talk about it, guys. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.